There is a grim and desperate search underway right here behind me tonight. Giant plumes of dust rising from the scene where you can see they have begun to move big pieces of the rubble, the scene of this devastating collapse. All of this as they try to move the debris here. An extraordinary scene playing out just as we come on the air tonight. Rescuers on top of the pile here throughout the day with dogs and equipment. And from time to time here, they have called for all stops to listen for life. All in an effort, of course, to find survivors in the rubble. We've talked with so many families here desperate for word of their missing loved ones. One family telling me just moments ago down the road here that until they receive final word that it's over, it's not over. And the images tonight, the stunning wreckage of the 12-story condominium building, half of it gone, flattened on the ground here. The massive operation going on around the clock. They went right into the night here, and they tell us they plan to do so again tonight. Heavy equipment now here on the scene. And there have been very difficult moments here as well. The sad discovery, a body recovered and brought down from the rubble. At least 4 confirmed dead so far here. All day long, firefighters carefully climbing the debris, looking for empty spaces where someone might have survived, passing down small pieces of concrete by hand and in a bucket brigade. They're using those trained dogs and sonar atop the pile, and they're using saws and jackhammers underneath to try to get inside the rubble, risking their lives to rescue others. At times, a hellish scene here made even worse by heavy rains and winds and by fires suddenly flaring up here. Of course, fires not uncommon with a collapse of this magnitude, but it really makes it much harder and it dims hope here on the scene. Above the rescue effort tonight, the evidence of lives changed in an instant. The walls gone, rooms exposed to the outside, the bunk beds in a room on the top floor of that building. And the excruciating wait tonight for word of the missing. Among the crews here at the site, the most experienced rescue teams in the world, some trained right here in South Florida. They answered the call on 9/11, and now their rescue efforts right here at home tonight. Tonight, the careful and painstaking search for survivors. Today, that number growing here, now 159 people still unaccounted for. Hundreds of first responders are on the scene here, combing through the devastation. Their bravery on full display. Structural engineers helping to secure any falling debris. Heavy equipment moving the rock. Searchers forming a human chain. Removing debris by hand, passing buckets in their search for any possible signs of life here. Working on top of the rubble in the shadow of what is left of the Champlain Towers. Around 2:30 this afternoon, more than 36 hours after the collapse, about a dozen workers could be seen focusing on this spot.
This is the second time we've seen them dispatch the canine handlers and their dogs to this area.
Peeling back layers of what was once the roof, hoping the dogs would find life, using remote cameras to see underneath.
The activity is considerable and it's constant.
Peering under large slabs of concrete, using sonar along with those dogs, slowly, methodically. And when they get a hint of anything, an all stop is called. Silence, so they can listen for any signs of life.
Well, I'm totally hopeful, yeah. We're not giving up at all. We're full speed ahead.
And the powerful images, teams of firefighters entering the parking garage, the cars covered in dust and debris, some of them on their sides. They have been working for hours here, Miami-Dade Fire Rescue and Florida Task Force 1, wading through water in the basement parking garage. In the dark, using flashlights, teams shoring up the floors above them with yellow beams, drilling into the walls to get inside.
These first responders are going in through tunnels. They're working from the top. They're working from the bottom. It has to be done very, very carefully.
Tonight, investigators are now studying that surveillance video that the country has now seen. The disturbing moment the condo tower collapses, captured by a nearby building surveillance camera. Now asking what could have caused such a catastrophic collapse. The Champlain Towers before the collapse and after. And you can see here the part of the building still standing. The bunk beds open to the air, bed frames, desks, dressers, deck chairs still by the pool. Those lifts giving rescue workers a view from above. Teams of 10 to 12 rescuers entering the rubble, working in 15-minute shifts here. They haven't stopped. These specially trained crews from right here in South Florida, they have been to disasters before, to Ground Zero after 9/11, to Haiti. Now, they are hard at work right here at home.
Everybody's running in one direction, they're running into the problem. And trust me, they're putting their lives in peril.
The entire structure is so unstable, streets have been blocked off for several blocks here.
Be advised, there's debris falling off the building.
The search temporarily halted overnight during heavy rain and wind.
All units, shelter, we have had bad weather roll in.
Late today here, more fires at the scene. Not uncommon with a collapse of this magnitude. The piles smoldering as firefighters race to put them out.
There's a crew that's there where that fire is burning. It's behind a wall that they're afraid to knock down to get to.
Since the moment this started, and they continue on, they do not stop. They work around the clock in the rain and the lightning, and small fires have taken place. They haven't stopped searching, and they'll continue to do so.
And the grim task of recovering the dead. 3 bodies pulled from the rubble overnight. Tonight, 4 people are confirmed dead, including Stacy Feng. It was her son, Jonah Handler, who was pulled from the rubble shortly after the collapse, waving his hand through the debris. We met the young man, Nicholas Balboa, who spotted the boy, telling me what he said.
What could you hear? What did you say back to him?
He was saying, can you see me? Like, as he was waving his hands, sticking up, and he was like, I'm here. It's me and my mom. He was just, don't leave me, don't leave me.
Tonight, we have learned that that boy, Jonah, is 15 years old. He plays junior varsity baseball for his local high school here. He is now recovering without his mother. And the images tonight of the unbearable pain here, the weight, anxious families still waiting for any word on their loved ones at a nearby reunification center. Donations coming in from across the country. The families have been given shelter and food, but all they want is word. We're learning more tonight about the missing. Elon Nybriff, 21, a student at the University of Chicago. His parents speaking to us late today.
Loved sports. He was my protector in every sense. Just all around good kid.
Edgar Gonzalez, his wife and daughter survived. They are in stable condition. Oresime and Betty Guerra, they lived in Unit 910. Their daughter Michelle telling us she's hoping they are together. Simon Siegel, a structural engineer born in Havana, Cuba. His family telling us he loves travel, movie nights with the family. He truly loves life, they said. Luis Andres Bermudez, his grandmother tonight, at a loss for words, saying my grandson is my everything. Rabbi Elliot Pielson of Temple Menorah, saying 7 members of his congregation, his extended family, are missing tonight.
So many people are really, really hurting because we're a loving community.
Joshua Spiegel, waiting for word on his mother, Judy.
It's a struggle. We are praying every minute. We're hopeful that she's there, alive, and we're going to see her soon, be able to hold her hand and kiss her. And we love her so much, and we're going to see her soon.
Late this afternoon, we met Michael Noriega, showing us photos of his beloved grandmother, Hilda.
Was that this Christmas?
It was.
Hilda, his family's last living grandparent, 92, living in apartment 602.
She was the most loving person that I've ever met in my entire life. I mean, she lived for her family, and I'll venture to say that she lives for her family. She was absolutely giving, and she was just the type of person that was the epitome of almost a perfect grandmother. She just loved us very, very, very dearly.
I can see your strength, and I gather your grandmother is partly responsible for that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, she's the strongest woman I know.
Well, we're holding out hope for her, too.
Appreciate that.
Thank you, Michael.
Very much.
Hilda's family not giving up hope. They told me they couldn't even imagine this scene in their worst nightmares. It's just impossible to describe unless you're standing here. They can't imagine their grandmother, they said, alone in her apartment, but they, like so many here, are not giving up. In fact, this evening, that heartbreaking wait continues. Stephanie Ramos, not far from where we are right here tonight at the Family Reunification Center where they're waiting for word. Stephanie?
David, I spent so much time speaking with families, including Bettina Obias. She's been looking for her aunt and uncle. They have lived in that tower for the last 16 years on the 10th floor. And Bettina is not ruling out a miracle tonight. She says it was fate that brought her here on a last-minute trip to visit her aunt and uncle. And when she learned the news, she raced down to that tower. She screamed, she cried, but she feared in her heart that they were gone. And like so many of the families we've spoken to here, she checked that survival list. They were not on it. She checked the hospital, nothing. Bettina says her aunt and uncle likely did not make it, but she is holding out hope that there are survivors tonight, David.
All right, Stephanie Ramos, not far from where we are right here. Thank you, Steph.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.